So our video cut off last time, but if you were finishing up number 27, the cube root of 256 is going to be negative 4 cube root of 4. So they both have like radicands of cube root of 4, so our answer will have the cube root of 4, and then you just simplify the coefficients. 8 minus 4 leaves us with 4. So our final answer is 4 cube root of 4. Now we're on to number 28, and 28 is talking about multiplication. So multiplication, you can do a couple different things. You don't need them to have like terms. That's only for addition and subtraction. With multiplication, you can either multiply first or you can simplify first. One thing I would check is to see if any of these are actually perfect squares. So like the square root of 6 doesn't simplify to anything. But the square root of 25 is actually a perfect square. The square root of 25 is just 5. So we're looking at the square root of 6 times 5, and that's really just 5 root 6. If that kind of blew your mind and you weren't sure where that came from, then here's what I would do. You can do it just like we've been doing it before, where you multiply the numbers on the outside, which is 1 times 1, or the coefficients, so then we have 1. And then multiply the numbers on the inside, the radicands, 6 times 25. When you do 6 times 25, let's see what we get. 6 times 25, and you get 150. So we have the square root of 150. So now let's do it the normal way and see if we get that 5 root 6. So 150, upside down division, let's divide that by 5. And I'm going to be really careful here and use my calculator. So that's 30. 30 is divisible by 5. That's 6. Divide that by 3, you get 2. 2, you get 1. It's a square root, so we're looking for groups of 2. I've got a group of 2 5s, and that's about it. So we're looking at 5 root 3 times 2, which is 6. 5 root 6 is our final answer, which is what we came up with the other way. Excellent. Let's move on to number 29. So we have 3 root 18 times root 50. Let's simplify them first and then multiply them. It'll be a little bit easier working with smaller numbers. So first we have 3 square root of 18. Let's do our upside down division with 18, remembering that 3 is a coefficient. So divide that by 2, and that's 9. Divide by 3, 3, 3, and 1. Group of 3s, and then 3 from the beginning. So we have 3 times 3 square root of 2, or 9 square root of 2. That's that first one. All right, now let's simplify the square root of 50. So we have 50, that's divisible by 5, also divisible by 5. Group of 2 5s with a square root of 2 left over. So what we're really looking at is 9 root 2 times 5 root 2. So now we'll multiply our coefficients, 9 times 5, which is 45, and square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which is the square root of 4. Now this is kind of nice because the square root of 4 is actually just a whole number. If you do second x squared, the square root of 4 is just 2. So really this is 45 times 2 for a final answer of 90. Now that was a lot of work. Remember, you should always check yourself in your calculator. So let's actually put our original expression in the calculator. 3 second x squared for square root of 18. Then you need to get out of the radical symbol, so you move to the right, times second x squared, or the square root, of 50. And we get 90. It's a great way to check yourself. You should always, so do the math first on paper, and then please use your calculator to check yourself. For 30, all right, 30. We are adding and subtracting, so that means we need to have like terms or like radicands. First thing I see is 3 root 2. Square root of 2 cannot be simplified, so I'm not even going to mess with that. Next thing I see is 4 square root of 16. 16 is a perfect square, so I'm going to put this in my calculator. 4 times the square root of 16. And that's just 16. Okay, so right now I've got 3 root 2 plus this itself is 16. Okay, and then we have minus 4 root 4. Well, 4 root 4, square root of 4, that's a perfect square, isn't it? So let's do 4 square root of 4. You should get 8. Very good. So that's minus 8. So we actually don't even have to reduce any radicals for this. We are going to check to see if we have any like terms. Were there any terms that 3 root 2 could combine with? No, because all of the other numbers are just constants. So our answer is going to be 3 root 2, and then we'll simplify 16 minus 8, leaving us with positive 8. So 3 root 2 plus 8 is our final answer. Okay, on to 31. So we're looking for cube roots. I'm just going to check something really quick. I don't have all my cube roots memorized, as you may not. And so I just want to check to see if the cube root of 81 is an integer. So we go to math, and then cube root is number 4. And let's see what the cube root of 81 is. Okay, it's a decimal, so that means that we are going to have to simplify it by hand. That's fine. So we have 81. That's divisible by 3. It's 27. Which is 9, 3, 3, 1. This example is talking about cube roots, so looking for groups of 3. So we have 3 cube root of 3. 3 cube root of 3 is 81. Now let's look at the cube root of 192. Again, let's just check, see that it's not an integer. Math 4, the cube root 192. Yeah, that's not an integer. We're going to have to simplify it the old-fashioned way. 192. That's divisible by 2. We get 96. All right, looking for groups of 3 of the same number. I've got 3 2's, and then I've got 1, 2, 3 2's again. So that leaves me with 2 times 2. And then all that was left under our cube root, make sure you put that index of 3, was a little 3. So we've got 3 cube root of 3 minus, I'm going to erase this out of my way, minus 2 times 2, so 4 cube root of 3. So our end goal is to simplify like terms. Do these terms have like radicands? Yes, they do. They both have the cube root of 3. So our answer is going to be something cube root of 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So you'll probably just see it written as the negative cube root of 3. We should be able to check this in our calculator. So let's check this original expression with what we actually got. So our expression looks like this. I don't want to click that. Move that out of the way. It looks like the cube root, so math 4 of 81. Hit the right arrow to get out of the radical, minus the cube root, math 4 of 192. Get out of that radical. And we get a negative 1 point something. So let's see if our answer, negative cube root of 3, matches that. Negative cube root is math 4 of 3. and they match. That's awesome. So that's another way to check to see if our answer is good. Cube root of 14. I have a guess that 14 is not going to be able to be simplified when it comes to cube root because 14 divided by 2 is 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1. I can't find a group of 3's in there, so let's see. Cube root of 14 stays the same. Okay, let's simplify the cube root of 100. We've got, that's got 100. Let's divide that by 5, which is 20. 5, which is 4. 2, 2, 1. It's a cube root, so we're looking for groups of 3's. Can't find any 3's in there, so that can't be simplified. So that means we're just going to have to multiply them. So we're looking at the cube root of 1400. So we can make our list of factors and look for a group of 3's. Move my stuff out of the way for this. All right, 1400. These both end in 0, meaning that they're divisible by 5. And 5 is a larger prime number than 2, so I'm going to want to use that. 56 is divisible by 7. So let's do that. And then I got to stick with my 2's. Looking for a group of 3. We've got 3 2's. So 2 cube root of 5 times 5 times 7. So 25 times 7. 5 times 5 times 7. 175. That's it. Our very last one, we are adding things, so they need to have like terms. Can the cube root of 16 be simplified? Absolutely. So if we're looking at 2 cube root 16, 16 is 2 and 8, 2 and 4, 2, 2, 2, 1. I've got a 2 in the front, and then a group of 3 2's, leaving me with 2 times 2 cube root of 2, or 4 cube root 2. Let's do this one now. The cube root of 54. All right, 54 is 2. And there was a 5 in front of that, so we know our final answer will have 5 times, there's a group of 3's, left over is a 2. So we have 15 cube root of 2. They have like radicands, and we are adding them together. So our answer is going to be the cube root of 2. We add the coefficients. 4 plus 15 gives us 19 cube root of 2. And that's it. Make sure that if you have any questions that you post them in the Google form. Have a great night.